Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of English with Bill. Today I'm going to be doing a solo show, and by solo I mean I'm going to be recording this alone. Um, uh, the idea is for this to be a shorter video. I have some talking points that I want to speak about, but I don't know if I don't know the time frame or how long it will take. But as you can tell from the title, today's talking point is awkward situations. Okay? And if you don't know what those words mean, awkward means something not pleasant, not a good feeling. If you call someone awkward, it's because they make you feel uneasy. They don't make you feel good, they make you feel strange. When we call a situation awkward, that means this situation makes us feel strange, not good. So from that, maybe you can gather that awkward has a little bit of a negative connotation towards it. Connotation is just like feeling. So there are a few situations that I want to talk about. I'm going to give you a general situation, a general awkward situation, and then I'm going to relate it to an experience that I have had growing up, and maybe even something recently. So, the first topic I'll talk about is when you say goodbye to someone, but you are both going the same way. So you end up walking next to them or behind them, and it kind of just makes that whole goodbye feel really awkward. This has happened to me a lot of times ever since I've moved to Japan because, it's a very common thing to say goodbye at a train station, right? So if you say goodbye at a train station, maybe you and the other person live in the same direction of the train. So there are many times where I'll say goodbye to someone, and then we both notice that we are going to be riding the same train home. And so it's like, oh, well, I'm just going to take back that goodbye. Please return the goodbye to me. And then I'll say goodbye whenever one of us get off the train first. That's a very funny situation. I think it's a little awkward, but not so awkward. It's more funny. I guess it depends on the people, right? Have you guys ever had something like that? If you did, you can talk about it in the comments. In fact, if there's any situation that you relate to, any situation that has happened to you, please throw that in the comments. I'd really like to hear about your awkward situations too, so I don't feel alone, right? All right. The next situation I want to talk about, situation number 2, this awkward situation is when you're with a group of friends, right? Maybe you're with 2 friends, 3 friends, and maybe these friends have, maybe they did something together that you did not experience. And so these friends are talking about something around you, and you just have no idea what they're talking about. I think that's an extremely awkward situation to be in because one, I would say it's a little rude of the other people. If they know that you have not been there, if they know that you don't relate to it, maybe they should, take that into account and like they should think, okay, maybe this isn't the place to talk about this. Maybe we can talk about this later when this person isn't here so that they can, join in on a different conversation we have going on right now. This is something that happens quite frequently in Japan for me. And I know it's not with any malicious or bad intent, but a lot of the time when I'm with, friends or teachers or students, we'll be talking in English for a little bit or maybe basic Japanese. And then they'll start talking to someone nearby. And all of a sudden, it's like I'm just completely butted out of the conversation, you know? This also happened when I was in America, of course, with like, English speaking friends too. I think it's a very normal situation to be in. But there's a saying that I got from the old Pokemon games back when I was a kid, which is there's a time and place for everything. And that time is not now. So, moving on. The next awkward situation, this is one from when you're a kid, or when I was a kid, when anyone is a kid. This is a very relatable situation, I feel like. And this situation involves, let's say you went grocery shopping with your parents when you were a kid, right? Very common situation. Everyone does this. I would be surprised if you didn't go shopping with your mom or dad when you were a kid, unless circumstances, right? But anyway, let's say you're in line with your mom or dad, and maybe they forgot something. They're like, "Oh my goodness, I forgot to get bread. Hey, can you hold our spot in line and wait until I get back?" And then you think to yourself, "Oh, okay, maybe this will be fine." But the second that they're gone, you've never trained for this, right? This is not something that you know how to do. If you get to the counter, you don't have any money. You're a kid, right? So it's a really awkward situation to be put in as a kid. This has happened to me plenty of times. And it doesn't even have to be in a grocery line, it could be in a line for anything. One very, very memorable experience was when I went to Anime Expo. Anime Expo is a convention that is held in Los Angeles, California. It features anime, manga, and all sorts of things related to Japan. And the way that the process of signing up for this event works is when you apply, you have to go to this thing called Day Zero, which is the day before the convention officially starts, and you have to wait in line, and you have to get your ticket at the end of that line by confirming your ID and bringing something you printed out confirming it's you. So I was waiting in line with my dad, and I was 16 at the time, right? So because I was 16, that actually meant I needed my dad with me when I got to the end of the line. Because when you're under 18, you need parental supervision kind of just to prove it's you. I don't know the reasoning, but I do know that this line was incredibly long. Like this thing stretched for maybe a block and a half. A block is like one section of a city that's bordered by two roads. I'm doing hand motions, but I know you can't see me because I don't have my camera on. But basically, if you look up or Google like a city block, you'll see what I mean. And this line went on for a block and a half. So it was a very long line. In fact, I think I waited in line for probably 6 or 7 hours that day. Luckily, I brought my Nintendo DS, so I was able to, enjoy myself during the line. Maybe 3 hours into the line, my dad decides, "Oh, I'm getting hungry, so I'm going to go get us some food." However, this is where everything went wrong. I'm like, "Oh, okay, yeah, I'm excited. Yeah, yeah, go ahead and get some food, and I'll see you soon." So I'm on the lookout for my dad this whole time, right? I'm like, okay, he'll come back. I should go point out where I am. This is a big line, so it's easy to get lost. My dad never came back that day. He got completely lost. He could not find me. And you know what the kicker is? You know what the most sad part of this is? We didn't have cell phones at the time. My dad didn't really see a point in having a cell phone, which I find really funny because these days he's always on his phone. always on his phone. I think he uses his phone more than I do, and I didn't think that was possible. Anyway, so he can't find me, and like I explained before, you needed a parent at the end of the line or at the front of the line when you get to the ticket part, because you need to that's a very common thing in America. When you're under 18, you're not considered an adult, so you need an adult supervision for most things. I'm 25 now, turning 26 soon, so I don't really have to deal with that anymore, thank goodness. But basically, my dad was inside of the convention center, but I couldn't find him. And so I'm like, all right, maybe he just went back to the hotel. So I take a cab back to the hotel, and when I get to the hotel, he's not there. All right, so right now I'm 16 years old and not in a country, in a state I've never been in a city I've never been in, and my dad is basically missing. So I think this took it from an awkward event to a traumatic event, right? So we are at a point where I don't know where he is, he doesn't know where I am. But thankfully, my dad did think ahead, and he left a message in the hotel room and said, "Bill, if you see this and I'm not here, I went back to look for you. I'll be coming back if I don't find you." Uh, and thankfully, he did come back, and I was able to, get my ticket the next day. It was I was very upset at the time because I had to wait basically 7 hours for absolutely nothing, you know, because my dad was not there when I needed him most. But I was just happy that everything was okay. He was happy I was okay, and I was happy he was okay. So yeah, I think that situation was very, very awkward at first when I got there and they're like, "Where's your dad?" And I was like, "I don't know." It's like, "Can you contact him?" And I'm like, "No, we don't have phones." Moving on. The next topic I want to talk about, number 4, is asking someone to repeat themselves a lot and you still don't understand or you can't hear what they say. Have you guys ever felt something like that before? I think that's a very common situation to be in, especially like if the room is loud, if you don't understand their pronunciation, if you just didn't understand what they were talking about. That happens to me a lot with my students here in Japan. Uh, for maybe different reasons, because they're going to be speaking in Japanese, right? I work at a very low level school, so frequently they will talk to me in Japanese and I'll translate it to English, and that'll be what they write on their paper. Or maybe they'll write something in English and I don't really understand, so I'll ask them to explain themselves. Um, Usually they explain it in Japanese, and because of that, I'll ask them, "Oh, could you repeat that one more, please?" And it never works. If I don't know what they say the first time, I probably won't know what they say the second time. So, what I usually do in that situation is I will just nod, smile, and then find the English teacher that's in the room with me and ask them to help. It's not so it's not so embarrassing because, I'm not expected to know all of the Japanese that they know as a native English speaker, right? But it's awkward nonetheless. All right, last one. This is a situation that is very specific to me. Maybe it's happened to you before, but it's probably not so common. So, last week I had what I thought was my last class with my third year students at my high school that I teach at. However, today I had a class with them too. But because I thought last week was my last class with them, I had a very heartfelt goodbye. I was telling them congratulations for graduating. I hope they do well. If they ever have any questions, they can always talk to me. It was a pleasure to work with them this year. It was a very heartfelt and emotional, ending speech for them that I gave. And the feeling that that speech gave off was I'm probably not going to see them again for a long time, if not forever, right? But on the weekend, the teacher that I work with in that classroom said, "Hey, could you come in to that class on Monday and help me check their papers?" And I said, "Of course, I really liked that class." But then it dawned on me later that, you know, I gave them this incredible goodbye, and now I'm coming back. Now I just look like a sham. You know, I just look completely ingenuine. And I thought maybe the students wouldn't notice, but oh, they noticed. As soon as I got into the classroom that day, they were like, "Huh? What? Why are you here? You said goodbye to us already. Why are you here?" And so I just kind of shrugged and went, I just pointed at the teacher. I thought that was a really funny situation. It was very awkward at first, but I think they were happy to see me again, which was very nice. And yeah, so that was all I really wanted to talk about. If you guys have any awkward situations, please leave them in the comments. And remember to, subscribe and like the video. It means a lot to me. And yeah, I want to do more things like this where I just kind of talk about something for a little bit and then upload it. If you guys like that style of video, let me know and I'll definitely do more. Anyway, I hope you guys have a great night, great rest of your day, whatever day it is. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.